Okay, here we go. We'll call this regular city council meeting to order on November 4th, 2024 at 6:02 PM. Roll call, please.
Mr. Eimer. Present. Mr. Bateman.
Present.
Mrs. McCullen.
Present.
Mr. Parrott.
Present.
Mr. Downs.
Present.
Mrs. Ross.
Present.
Mrs. O'Donoghue.
Present.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Does anybody like to speak under public participation this evening? Okay, for the record, there is no public participation. You will notice item number 5 on your agenda. That was a entry in error. So, do we need to vote to remove that one, John?
Topic.
It's just we're okay, just scratch it.
No, there's no item. We're not. It's not a voting action item, so you could just disregard it.
I just want to make sure since it's on the agenda. Okay, thank you. So we will remove item number 5. That brings us down to the consent agenda, which this evening consists of 6A, payment of bills, 6B, approval of minutes, October 15th, 2024, committee of the whole meeting, October 21st, 2024, regular city council meeting, and 6C, request from the Winter Wonderland Festival to close the 100 block of South Kickapoo Street on Friday, November 29th, 2024, from 5 p.m. until 6 p.m. for the annual Christmas tree lighting ceremony.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alderwoman Rolfs made the motion. Alderwoman O'Donoghue second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. O'Donoghue.
Yes.
Mr. Eimer.
Yes.
Mr. Bateman.
Yes.
Mrs. McCullen.
Yes.
Mr. Parrott.
Yes.
Mr. Downs.
Yes.
Mrs. Ross.
Yes.
Okay, next item up is item number 7, ordinance accepting real estate. Mr. Hoblet, did you want to give us a? Okay. Is there?
To approve. Second.
Alderman Bateman made the motion. Alderman Downs second. Mr. Hoblet, can you give us a quick refresher for the record, please?
Yeah. So this was an ordinance that I created to accept the real estate. Statute is silent in regards to. I mean, it goes into quite detail for purchase, sale of real estate, but it was silent. I consulted with some other city attorneys, got a consensus, and it was unanimous that you should probably do it in an ordinance in this case in order to at least protect, at least have a chain of title for when you accept property. That way, random organizations, people aren't donating property that the city doesn't want. Even though we would have a action item with a via vote. I will note that I went out for title work, very basic title work, just to see if there's anything else in regards to the property. It'll be quick, but it was only a matter of a couple days. The last time we talked about this was last Tuesday. So I would suggest that we accept a contingent upon that title work, just showing if there's any other encumbrances on the property. We do know that there's 1 year of back taxes on it.
So would you recommend a amended motion to mention the contingency?
Yes, I would recommend that.
Okay. Is there a amended motion from the council to also clarify on item number 7 that it would be contingent upon a clear title search?
Yeah, I make a motion amending a clear title search.
Second.
Probably.
With the 1 year back taxes that we have already been disclosed and are aware of.
Mr. Downs made the motion.
Second.
Mr. Parrott second. Just further discussion on the amendment? Roll call on the amendment, please.
Mr. Parrott.
Yes.
Mr. Downs.
Yes.
Mrs. Ross.
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donoghue.
Yes.
Mr. Eimer.
Yes.
Mr. Bateman.
Yes.
Mrs. McCullen.
Yes.
Okay, is there any other discussion on the item as amended? Okay, roll call on item number 7 as amended.
Mr. Downs.
Yes.
Mrs. Ross.
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donoghue.
Yes.
Mr. Eimer.
Yes.
Mr. Bateman.
Yes.
Mrs. McCullen.
Yes.
Mr. Parrott.
Yes.
Okay, the next item is 10A, approval of economic development grant to Colton Johnner for the replacement of 2 garage doors for property at 201 Sangamon Street in an amount not to exceed $7,500.
So moved.
Second.
Alderman Parrott made the motion. Alderman Downs, second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donahue?
Yes.
Mr. Eimer? Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mrs. McCullen?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Okay, next item is 10B, approval of economic development grant to Kevin and Brooke Hild for roof replacement for property at 116 North McLean Street in an amount not to exceed $7,500.
Second.
Alderwoman O'Donahue made the motion. Alderman Eimer, second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Eimer?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mrs. McCullen?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donahue?
Yes.
Next item is 10C, approval of economic development grant to Robert Beecher for window replacement for property at 303 South Kickapoo Street in an amount not to exceed $7,500.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alderwoman Ross made the motion. Alderman Parrott, second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donahue?
Yes.
Mr. Eimer? Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mrs. McCullen?
Yes.
Next item is 10D, approval of economic development grant to Scott Mack, DBA Infinity Real Estate LLC for Phase 2 of roof replacement for property at 702 through 708 Keokuk Street in an amount not to exceed $7,500.
Move to approve.
Alderwoman Rolfs made the motion. Alderman Eimer, second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Eimer? Yes. Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mrs. McCullen?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donahue?
Yes.
And the last item this evening is 10E, approval of memorandum of understanding between the City of Lincoln, Logan County, a municipal corporation, and the Lincoln Lakes Condo Association.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alderwoman O'Donahue made the motion. Alderman Downs, second. Discussion? Mr. Bateman.
So the city attorney sent out an email this afternoon. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but according to that email, the solar company attorneys have signed off on this easement.
Okay. For the record, Mr. Hoblet nodded yes.
Yes, I did nod yes. There was some further requests that came by to reflect current and additional solar projects on both the filed easement and the easement agreement. And keep in mind, again, those were circulated for you guys' awareness. The really only relevant aspect easement that you guys are approving on your level here is the one between yourselves and the Lincoln Lakes Condo Association.
Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donahue?
Yes.
Mr. Eimer? Mr. Bateman?
Yes,
Mrs. McCullen?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Okay, that brings us down to announcements. Does anybody have an announcement? Alderman Bateman.
not really an announcement, but going back to item 7, once the city gets free and clear title of this property, will we be informed so that the council can then decide whether we're going to put this out for sale?
Mr. Hobbit?
Yes, once we, what'll end up happening is that there will be a deed that'll be filed at the county courthouse. That deed return address should be the office of Mrs. Bateman, the city clerk. So once she receives that, that'll be notice in of itself that we are free and clear to sell it and or do with it as we see fit.
Ms. Rolfs?
This is kind of an announcement, but also a question. One of my constituents showed me his Ameren bill, and on there's a new charge, and that charge is for low-income credit adjustment. This is on a commercial piece of property in the downtown area. The amount is $21.30. This is new, and I'm not sure when this went into effect. Did it go through the Illinois Commerce Commission? But his concern was that he used absolutely no gas and only electricity, which was $49, and then he has a $21.30 charge for low-income credit adjustment. And this has never been on his bill before. So he was wondering if we knew anything about this going on. I looked at my home one, and yes, we all have a $2 and I think 13 cents. I don't know what it's based on, charge that is new. So just trying to figure out, you know, if the downtown businesses,
Did they call Ameren themselves?
the thing that I think is irritating, this is a business in the downtown, and are all of the businesses now getting these bills? And it's something I think we need to be familiar with for, you know, we're economic development for the downtown businesses, but this takes away from that a little bit. So I think we need to be aware of that, and yes, we can call and find out if it's, how it became a law that they could charge that kind, and what kind of percentage is that? You know, that's basically, he didn't use much. What happens when you've got a commercial property that uses a lot, and how much is that adding to their bills?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that particular charge on the bill. That's the first I've heard of that. So I do have a contact at Ameren, and I can reach out to them tomorrow and see if I can get some answers for you and the council as well.
No, I think the whole downtown, because I did talk to another downtown business and was told that, you know, they just have an accountant, and the accountant pays the bills, so they're not really aware of. But I do think that it's something that we should be aware of for all businesses, whether they're downtown or not downtown. But
Mr. Bateman?
According to the world-famous Google, it's funds that are used to discount eligible customers required by state law is a result of the Low-Income Discount Study of Illinois Commerce Commission Act. So, sounds like we're all gonna be charged with it to help them fund and offset low-income families.
so how do they identify low-income families? Do we know?
They probably have a program that has criteria that they have to meet. Especially going into the colder months.
Would that be also something that would apply to the city, to our bills?
To your Ameren bill as a resident?
Well, do we pay one for the city? No?
Utility bill?
No, this particular charge, we'd have to look.
We'd have to look to see if it's on there.
Yeah. But it's likely that it's gonna hit all of our bills. So let me see what I can find out on, in addition to what Mr. Bateman shared. I'll see if they can explain how they calculate it, and,
I just hope we're not paying for Chicago.
well, it wouldn't be from Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Any other announcements? Okay, if there's no other announcements, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Alderman Downs made the motion, Alderman Parrott second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 6:16 PM.